Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today on this beautiful, gorgeous day in Jackson, Mississippi. Today, I am announcing a large-scale public safety operation in the city of Jackson. The operation, called Operation Unified, involves surging state, local, and federal law enforcement resources to our capital city. Operation Unified started in mid-January, and its goal is to get violent drug traffickers and criminals off of Jackson streets. Participating agencies include the Mississippi Department of Public Safety's Bureau of Narcotics, Capitol Police, and the Office of Homeland Security, the Jackson Police Department, the Hinds County District Attorney, and the Hinds County Sheriff's Office, the Mississippi Department of Corrections, the FBI, the DEA, and ATF, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office. As I said recently in my executive budget recommendation, Jackson is our capital city, in a place that my family and I, as well as over 145,000 fellow Mississippians, call home. It is a wonderful place filled with extraordinary people. It is a cultural hub for our state, and every individual who lives here or every individual who visits here deserves to feel safe. Despite the vast positives that Jackson has to offer, there is no doubt that, like many other cities around the country, we continue to grapple with a crime problem. Jackson still has the highest homicide rate of any major city in our nation. We aim to directly counter that with this operation. I want to make clear that the state of Mississippi is committed to improving our capital city and will stop at nothing to ensure the safety of its residents. And we're doing a lot more than just simply surging police in the city. We're investing in water and sewer, in infrastructure, in new roads, in sidewalks, and much, much more. In fact, we've invested over $95 million into the city since the creation of the Capital Complex Improvement District. We've also invested in Jackson State University, one of the premier institutions of higher learning in our state. I'm proud of the investments that we've made, but we also know that from infrastructure to public safety, the state of Mississippi needs to continue to take important steps to improve Jackson and to keep our people safe. And we're not going to stop doing that anytime soon. The mission is too important. And I think when you see the people that are standing behind me today, it is a clear indication that we are all in this together. Not too long ago, I think many of us saw the viral video going around social media just in the last few days, in which an individual leaned out of his car in broad daylight and recklessly fired a weapon. That happened literally just a few short steps from here on the road that is behind me and on the other side of those gas pumps. The reckless actions in that video showed that some of these criminals had a total disregard for the safety of their fellow Jacksonians, and they didn't care who they hurt, and they didn't care who they killed. Think about that for just a moment. Families and children visit this area. Jacksonians fill up their car as these gas pumps on their way to and from work. And they visit the bank across the street to make a deposit or to pay their mortgage. What was shown in that video is completely unacceptable, and it must be stopped. Jacksonians deserve to live in peace, and they should not have to fear for their safety while running errands or while commuting to work. Together, with our local partners and our federal partners, we will put a stop to it. As one unified front that is committed to stopping violent crime, this operation will help us do exactly that. And I'd like to thank every single one of our partners for helping us tackle the crime plaguing this fantastic city. I'm also proud to announce today that on Friday night, after a short pursuit, Capitol Police apprehended a person who, as of now, they suspect participated in this horrific act and seized the car that they believe was used in the shooting behind me. Additionally, Capitol Police seized 2 illegally modified handguns and an AR-style rifle from the suspect's vehicle after that pursuit. Of course, the investigation is still ongoing, but I would like to thank our Capitol Police for getting this violent criminal off of our streets. And I hope that it serves as a reminder to other criminals operating in the city and elsewhere of what we have in store for them. Before I turn it over to the other speakers that are going to speak today, I want to speak directly to those who are using our capital city as their criminal playground. Your time here is over. You don't run this city, and you're not immune to the law. We will not surrender our streets to you, and we will never, and I mean never, rest until you are behind bars. Your partners in crime are getting caught one by one. And I promise you this, all who prey upon the residents of Jackson and all who prey upon the residents of Mississippi will be caught, and they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Law and order will win the day here, and you will be brought to justice. With that, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Tyndall to say a few words. Commissioner?
Thank you all for being here today, and thank you, Governor Reeves, for your support throughout this operation. And thank you to our local, state, and federal partners for your commitment to this operation. I'd also like to thank our leaders at the state capitol, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, Speaker Jason White, and others, for their continued support of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. I'd like to take a moment to highlight the exceptional work of Chief Bo Lucky and the Capitol Police, who recently arrested the person of interest that the governor just mentioned. While this is an open investigation and we cannot speak much on the details, I want to thank our officers for their dedication to continuing to get those violent criminals off our streets. Once we have additional information that we can release, we will update you. Operation Unified represents critical response to the violent crime within the city of Jackson. Behind each statistic lies a tragic loss, a shattered family, and a community left with grief and fear. Our goal with this operation is clear: to go after the violent criminals responsible for perpetuating this cycle of violence, to hold them accountable for their actions, and to bring justice to the victims and their families. Working together is not just important, it's absolutely essential. By unifying our efforts across federal, state, and local agencies, we maximize our collective impact, leveraging our resources, expertise, and jurisdictional reach to target and dismantle criminal networks operating within our capital city and within our state. We want to be crystal clear that criminals that are involved in these crimes will be evaluated by the U.S. Attorney's Office and the District Attorney's Office with Jody Owens. And all crimes meeting federal thresholds will be prosecuted federally, and those meeting state thresholds will be prosecuted on the state level. We will utilize all branches of our law enforcement resources to ensure that every avenue of accountability is pursued and these criminals are held accountable. Operation Unified should not be seen as a short-term initiative, but rather a part of a broader commitment to maintaining public safety, bringing together the Hinds County Sheriff's Office, Jackson Police Department, the Mississippi Highway Patrol, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, the Mississippi Office of Homeland Security, the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, and Capitol Police and other law enforcement agents to make a safer capital city. Together, we stand as a formidable force against crime, united in our resolve to protect and serve. This operation is a testament to the power of partnership, the resilience of the community, and the unwavering determination of those who stand on the front lines and take the oath to protect and serve. We have embraced the belief that together we are stronger and together we can make a difference. As we move forward, let us continue to stand unified, knowing that together there is no challenge too great and no obstacle too daunting. Lastly, I'd like to personally thank the Mayor and Chief Wade for their commitment to this operation. I know Chief Wade and Deputy Commissioner Davis have had multiple conversations about this operation and how best to move it forward. And when I met with the mayor about this operation and the importance of a united and unified effort for public safety, he recognized and supported that objective. So again, thank you. Thank you again for being here, and now I will turn it over to the city's mayor.
Thank you all for being here. I'd like to take a moment to thank the men and women of the various agencies that are represented behind us and represented in the crowd today. This is an opportunity to demonstrate one of the most shining examples of operational unity, meaning that we're focusing more on our common ends and objectives than any differences that we have. I'm grateful to Commissioner Tyndall for that call. I recall, Commissioner, you said that our goal has to be to take the politics out of public safety. However, anytime we put forth a strong strategy to deal with public safety, it represents good politics. Commissioner, I will give you credit for that the first 2 times. By the 3rd time, I feel like I've said it more than you, so it'll be mine, right? But we're grateful for all of the agencies and all of the individuals that were working hand in hand to make Jackson safer. I do want to take a moment to commend the Jackson Police Department and the hard work that they perform each and every day. Not only are they growing in ranks and in numbers each day, they have a well above the national average crime solvability rate. That means that when a crime takes place in Jackson, that the Jackson Police Department not only arrives and not only responds, but they solve that better than most cities in this nation. And so that is a warning to anyone who decides to take place or take advantage of criminal activity in our city, that the chances, the statistics are against you in you succeeding, that we will respond, we will bring you to justice, and we will make our city safer. I hope that as we move forward, that we can pledge to the residents of Jackson that our goals will not be for them to feel policed, but to feel protected, because people want to be protected in their homes. And we will continue to not only partner and provide those who work on the front lines each and every day the tools that they need in order to accomplish their goals, we will unleash every tool in our toolbox to ensure that we create a safer city for all Jacksonians. We are continuing to establish our Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery so that we not only respond to crimes, we become intelligent enough to stop them from happening in the first place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I am going to ask for Chief Wade to come to the podium of JPD. Chief?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's first an honor to be here. January was a very violent month here in the city of Jackson. That violence does not represent the good, hardworking people that live in the city of Jackson. It does not represent the good people that work and go to church here in the city of Jackson. It did not represent or negate the hard work and dedication of our men and women of the Jackson Police Department. But it did represent that we still have a lot of work to do to break the cycle of violence in our city. I committed to, on June 1st of last year, that we would work with all law enforcement on the local level, the county level, the state level, and the federal level. I committed that we would work with the Hinds County District Attorney's Office, the Attorney General's Office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I know that by all of us working together, that it will be a unified effort. It will be a collaborative effort, a collective effort, but most importantly, it will be a community effort. And that the criminal element will no longer be able to thrive in the city of Jackson. They will falter, they will fail, and the great citizens of Jackson will prosper. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, I'm going to recognize our district attorney, Jody Owens.
Good afternoon. 4 years ago, the Hinds County District Attorney's Office had one of the smallest staffs in the state of Mississippi per capita with the amount of crime that we were fighting. We want to thank Governor Reeves for answering our prayers, and now that we have the largest DA's office in the state of Mississippi. The leadership of Mississippi has supported our office to ensure that we are able to meet our constitutional obligation of prosecuting all violent crime in the city of Jackson. The men and women behind me represent some of the best and finest law enforcement people I've ever met. But as a DA, we have the sole obligation to ensure that we're giving them the end result. As Chief Wade said, we are solving more crimes in Hinds County than anywhere else in the state, comparably. But we're not prosecuting those cases fast and quick enough. The DA's office in the last 4 years has cut down the time of prosecuting individuals in half, but we still have more work to do. That's why projects like this, Operation Unity, allows us to get better cases and prosecute people timely. The citizens of Jackson should not ever deal with repeat offenders terrorizing our communities. When you break the law in Hinds County, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and you will spend decades in prison in Mississippi. The time of playing is over. The time of violent guns and shooting our city is over. For the first time in the last 4 years, the DA's office is in lockstep with every official, state, federal. We all are on the same page, committed to the same mission of a safer Jackson and a safer capital city. We will deliver that. Continue to pray for us. Continue to pray for our men and women in uniform, and we will give you a safer Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. District Attorney, for your hard work, not just today, but over the last 4 years. I would like to, in closing, just take one moment to personally thank every single man and woman that puts on the uniform every day here in the capital city, all throughout our state and all across our nation. We sincerely appreciate you. We know the challenges that you face and the risk that you take, but please know, on behalf of 3 million Mississippians and across this country, how much we appreciate those of you who are doing a very, very difficult job. Let me also just say, before I open the floor to questions, that this press briefing today is important, and it certainly shows a unity amongst local, state, and the federal government with respect to fighting crime here in the capital city. But this is not unique to the capital city. Commissioner Tyndall and I had a similar press conference a year or so ago on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, where the I-10 corridor is seeing significant challenges with respect to crime. So I want to just, for all of you in the press here, recognize that while we certainly have challenges here in central Mississippi in the capital city, it is not the only place in Mississippi or only place in America where we have those challenges. But we do know that the way in which to resolve it is to get the criminals off the streets. And the best way in which to do that is, as you look around this crowd, is seeing the different uniforms that are represented here and the commitment by not only the elected leadership, but the commitment by those that put on the uniform to do all that we can to keep people safe. So with that, I'll open the floor to questions. We'll start with Scott.
Governor, you said surge law enforcement officers. Specifically, what is that going to mean to surge resources to fight crime here?
Well, so the surging is not a strategy that is new. It's not a strategy that is unique. In fact, just this year in 2 other jurisdictions across Mississippi, one just north of here in the Mississippi Delta, one in north of here in Montgomery County. We have surged law enforcement. But what you'll see is an increased law enforcement presence, and in fact, many of you have probably already seen it. This operation actually began in the middle of January. Obviously, we're having the press conference today because we've had some successes already. Obviously, I mentioned the arrest that was made on Friday evening, but not only are we seeing improved and increased activity by our local law enforcement officers and those that work for the Department of Public Safety that are headquartered here, whether that's at Capitol Police or at the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics. But the commissioner and his team at the Department of Public Safety is increasing the number of patrol here, whether it's at the Mississippi Highway Patrol or otherwise, and we will continue to do that. And so I'll ask Sean if you want to address that any further. Or?
Often what you'll hear is the term saturation details or task force, where we're bringing multiple agencies together and having a saturation into certain areas. And so really that's the focus here, is bringing in the multiple agencies that we have within the Department of Public Safety, as well as our state and local law enforcement, working in more of a task force model, trying to have a greater presence. Now, all of these won't be in marked units. Make no mistake, we have undercover units going out as well, like the Bureau of Narcotics and Bureau of Investigation and the Criminal Investigative Division of Capitol Police that are also engaged in this, along with the CIDs and our local Sheriff's Office and JPD. So it's really a term that we use often, saturation details and task force, and we do it all over the state. So it's nothing that's 100% unique to Jackson, but obviously there's a demand and a need here, and one, as the capital city, we want to make sure that we have a strong presence in.
Will there be an increase in federal agents actually sort of on the ground in Jackson on a regular basis? And can you just say a bit more about the coordination, what that looks like?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to specifics when it comes to the numbers of personnel that are on the ground, whether they're federal assets or local assets or state assets. What I will tell you, obviously, the men and women of the Hines SO, for instance, the men and women of the Jackson Police Department do an outstanding job, but their resources are limited, and whereas the state or the feds, either way, we have individuals that are assigned to this particular region of the state, but we also have individuals that are currently in other parts of the state that when the commissioner talks about saturating, we will move resources around, we'll move assets around to further add people here in the city during this saturation effort.
Governor, I've seen this work before. We've done this in Jackson multiple times through the last 20 years, and we've seen it work. Based on those numbers that you've seen prior and things like this, how soon can we expect to see a difference?
Well, what I would tell you is we're seeing a difference every single day. When there's an individual that we believe committed crimes in weeks and months past, that then probably on this past Friday evening committed additional crimes, and they were arrested and they are now off the streets. I would tell you that everyone would agree that we're not going to get 100% of the criminal element off the streets overnight. But if we can get one criminal off the streets today and get back up tomorrow and go try to get another one off the street, it makes everyone safer. And so when you talk about when will we start seeing results, we're already seeing results. I like to say in my office to my team all the time, we make progress every day, but no day passes that we make enough progress. And I think that's certainly not unique to all the things that we do. It's certainly true in this instance. But these men and women that are working hard every day are making a difference. But what we're saying to those in the capital city is, if you commit a crime, you're going to get caught. And just that in and of itself tends to be advantageous in the fight against crime. Yes, sir.
Can you speak on the communication efforts? And obviously a lot of moving parts. Has there been any issues with communication between these agencies?
Well, what I would tell you is again, something I say often is, we would all communicate better if we all communicated better. And I think what you're seeing today is a real concerted effort by all parties to do exactly that, to communicate better, and so and to work together. We all recognize the importance when it comes to law enforcement, the important scenario when it comes to law and order, that we have to constantly be in communication, because the reality is, if each of these individual agencies, whether it's the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, and by the way, we have communication challenges within our own agencies and our own department, okay? This is not unique to just local versus state versus federal. I mean, we sometimes have to work hard internally at the Department of Public Safety just to make sure our own agencies, whether it's MBN or MBI, are communicating better. But what I would say today is an illustration of the commitment of all parties to work harder each day going forward to make sure that we're communicating. Because here's what I know for sure. We all have really talented people that work in these various agencies. But we're all individually limited by resources and other things. But when we work together, we can leverage our resources such to make sure that we protect the people here in the city and across the state. Yes, ma'am.
Two more questions.
Have you considered?
Go ahead. Go to you right here.
Have you considered any crime prevention efforts beyond policing in Jackson?
Yes, we've considered an enormous number of crime preventative efforts beyond policing. For instance, one of the things that the district attorney mentioned earlier is the additional investment by the state in supporting the hiring of additional prosecutors at the district attorney's office. In addition to that, we've also invested in helping hire more public defenders in this particular jurisdiction, because obviously we have to make sure that when there is a trial, that every single individual, whether we believe they're guilty or not, has access to a defense lawyer, for instance. We're continuing to see improvements in the educational system here in the capital city and all around the surrounding areas. Again, very important to give kids the opportunity for success through better education. And we're going to continue to look for ways and find ways to do things other than just simply policing.
Super Talk. I think Super Talk has a question. Go ahead.
A lot of the crimes committed in the Jackson area are committed by juveniles. Are there any initiatives from your office or anybody here that would kind of keep minors off the streets and have them in facilities where they won't be committing crimes?
Well, that's first of all, your initial statement is true, is that much of the crime, not all, but much of the crime that is occurring in the capital city and across the nation is being committed by juveniles. That's the reason education is so critically important. The key long term is to these individuals is, one, we've got to continue to work to give these kids an opportunity to focus their efforts on other things. Obviously, we got to continue to focus our efforts on access to opportunity, whether it's through education, for me, I didn't have time to do a lot of stuff when I was that was bad when I was young, because I was always shooting the basketball. I mean, always, and you can't tell it now, but always spending the time to shoot the basketball. And so I think extracurricular activities to keep kids off the streets is certainly very important. And there's a lot of initiatives individually within the various agencies that are up here and those who are not to do exactly that. So look, we sincerely appreciate y'all being here today. I'm sure these individuals behind me will certainly take an additional question or otherwise, but I can't thank these men and women behind me, and also the ones in the crowd that are wearing the uniform and those who are not. I can't thank them enough for the sacrifices they make every single day. Thank y'all, and God bless.